Welcome, everybody, to our Solstice service this evening. I'm Reverend Abigail, and I am your associate minister, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all here this evening. This service, the Solstice service, is a time for embracing the darkness, the rest, the relaxation, the time in the winter when we go inward. And so we've designed this service a little bit different than a regular service. It's going to be a time with poetry and music and moments of silence and introspection. It's going to be a time for us to listen to the still small voice within. I'm grateful that the three of us designed this service together. We had Reverend Patric, whom will be speaking in a moment, and Reverend Andrea. And the three of us created this service especially for you. We wanted to create something that was more about an experience, more about a feeling tone. And instead of resisting what's ever going on during this time, it's a time of embracing and bringing it all in for the alchemy of transformation to happen within our souls. So I am grateful that you've joined us this evening. I'd like to go ahead and start us off with an opening prayer. Tonight, this evening, the darkest, longest night of the year, I recognize and know that the infinite divine presence is here. It is the creative energy in the darkness. It is the thing that I cannot see. It is subtle and a mystery. It is that thing that lives inside me and guides me to see and feel and know a new destiny. And so as I take this evening to surrender to that mystery, I recognize and know that all the different parts of me become wholly, wholly inside of me. And so I'm grateful to recognize this truth and to know that something sacred is happening this evening, something intangible that shifts each and every one of us. And I'm so grateful to not have to effort or push or shove or make it happen. I'm so grateful to just be in the energy and the essence of that alchemy. And so as I surrender, I just let it go and I let it be. And so it is. So as we listen and feel and embrace our gifts tonight, we're going to be gifted with the music of Gina Salah. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Gina to you as she gifts all of us today. Thank you so much.
grass and whispered as you passed, that was my voice you heard. Neither wind nor bird, that was my heart you heard last night by the river, and the thunder in the land, shaking earth where you did stand. That was my heart you heard. Neither wind nor bird, that was my blood you heard last night by the river, pouring into your heart's lake, running redder for your sake. That was my blood you heard. And the moonlight through the pines, and the deepest part of night, my heart called your name last night by the river.
So let's rest in that echo by the river. My name's Reverend Patric. I'm glad you're with us tonight. I'm glad to be in community with you. My invitation to you this evening is that, like Reverend Abigail said, you let go and let be. That you take this moment together this evening, this pause between what happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow, what's happened last week and next week, what happened this past year, and what's going to happen this next year. Take a metaphoric pause and a literal pause with us tonight. Allow the moment to have its own life. Allow your breath to have its own breathing in your body. Allow grace to breathe you. And allow this moment to truly come into community and be present with each other. There is a profound blessing in allowing our breath to have its full breathing through us, to allow grace to have its full presence in us, and to be fully present for and to each other and to grace itself. So let us begin this little section with a brief chant, and then I'll go into a reading, a poem called Listening to Winter by Makrina.
the breath of love. May I exhale all the love I have to give. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute.
Take a breath into your body and release the breath. Let's take a moment of silence. Just a pause. The trees have shed their colorful autumn robes. Winter is raging through the dark, empty branches, and I am listening. I'm listening to the roar and to the quiet of winter. I'm listening to the beauty that remains unseen. I am listening. I'm listening to the seed hidden in the earth. I'm listening to the dark swallowing up the night. I'm listening to faith rising out of doubt. I am listening to the need without seeing. I am listening. I'm listening to the season of contemplation, to urgency of our world's need for reflection. I'm listening to all that waits within the earth, the bulbs, the seeds, the deep roots dreaming. I'm listening to the sacred winter rest. I am listening. I'm listening to long winter's nights, comforting darkness, fruitful darkness, beautiful darkness. I am listening to the darkness of the winter season. I am listening to the sparks of hope within the darkness. I am listening. I am listening to the storms raging outside my window, to storms raging inside my heart. I am listening to all that makes me pull the cloak a little tighter. I'm listening to trust buried deep in the ground of my being. I am listening. I'm listening to the kind permission of the season to rest more often. The permission to reflect more deeply, the permission to pray without words. I'm listening to the sacrament of non-doing. I'm listening. I'm listening to my dreams and inner visions, to the unknown wrapped in the mystery of life. To tears trapped in the underground streams of my being. To the seeds watered daily by those tears, I am listening. I'm listening to the quiet life in winter's womb. I am listening to winter nurturing spring. I am listening to the brilliant winter sunsets and the frosty winter mornings. I'm listening to the snowflakes flying through the air, to the cold winds that often blow out there. I am listening to the bare trees, to lovely in their emptiness, and to the one leaf that just didn't let go. I am listening. I am listening to winter, handing over to spring. And I'm listening to the poetry of winter. I am listening. I am listening. I breathe. Take a breath with me. And I release the breath. I am listening to the poetry of winter. I am listening.
Take another minute to listen. So, what's coming up? What do you hear? When you've allowed the silence to clear the way for spirit, what do you hear? What feelings are coming up? Some of you might be feeling joy, some of you might be feeling anticipation of the holidays, looking forward to receiving and giving gifts and seeing family, making merry, because you love this time of year. Others of us might be feeling a little sadness with the pandemic, the isolation. We might be feeling some grief, some loneliness. We might not love the dark, cold, sleeting, rainy, short days, facing off against the dominance of what often feels like some kind of manufactured holiday cheer. Whatever you felt, all of your emotions are worthy of embracing because they are your guideposts and they are holy because they are the wholeness of you. So tonight, let's embrace the emotions you encountered just now, both light and dark. And I say this because we spend a lot of time and energy suppressing a lot of emotions and feelings that we just don't really like. They're inconvenient, they're distracting, they can make us feel wrong about feeling them. We can feel like we come off as though we have something wrong to other people, and we don't want to be a Debbie Downer around this time of year. So we, at this time, share our bread and wine in conviviality while often hiding the hunger and thirst below. So let's embrace that. Now, Sometimes spiritual centers can be guilty of pushing away those dark feelings, saying, let's focus on the light. Come on, everyone, let's lighten up. And we do focus on the light, and that is a good thing. The light is fantastic. But we also need to honor the dark, because it is us. And it's where a lot of creative energy lies. A lot. So embracing and being conscious of all that makes us whole releases those oppressed parts of us that can sometimes twist us into behaving in ways that our higher self doesn't recognize. Sometimes we can be angry or aggressive or get super sad, or that's because we're denying a part of ourselves and we're only being half human. So in it all, especially in these darker emotions, these are our catalyst for growth. They show us what we truly want and what we want to shift, what we want to renew, how we want to change our lives. When we feel grief about loss, we understand the depth of love we felt for whatever it was that we lost. When we feel joy, we understand what it is that makes us thrive. And when we feel envy, we know that that thing that that other person has, our soul is craving it. Take note. Give it to your soul. And when we feel rejection, we might just be rejecting ourselves from within, and it's manifesting outside in our experience of the world. So we need to feel our emotions and experience our own darkness and bless them, because that darkness becomes the incubator of the creation of a new direction. Our inner light is kindled, and the place from which new life and new experience is derived. So being whole is holy, and it's experienced both the dark and the light. One doesn't exist without the other. When we reflect on everyday life, we can see evidence of what appear to be polar opposites. We see day, we see night, we see youth, we see age, we see sickness, we see health, we see life, we see death. But in spirit, they are all one continuum. It's a very, very recent phenomenon in history of mankind, or humankind, I should say, that we attribute positive or negative connotations to feelings, like happy and sad, good and evil. Spirit doesn't operate that way. Because categorizing some things with goodness and other things with evil refutes the sense of oneness, one mind. And that would be creating duality, which in our teaching we do not acknowledge. It's all one, it's all spirit. So perhaps we come to appreciate the gift of just being alive by accepting that life will always be an ebb and flow of wavering emotions, and that our role is to simply be present with it all. Allow those emotions to flow through us, unrestricted, acknowledged, and embraced. And we can bless them as our holy guides. So let's thank them for what they teach us. Release them, move forward to new thoughts and feelings in the new year. When we clench our fists and resist feelings, more of them are born. So we thank them and release them. We're always changing. Change is life, and we're meant to change. And our feelings are our allies. They are our guideposts. They are our GPS, or God positioning system, as Kathy Ann calls it. They are our soul. I'd like to share 2 poems, both short, that beautifully express the gifts of the darkness and of all feelings. The first one by Rumi, many of you may have heard, but it is so apt. The second by Mary Oliver. If I can. The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. This last poem is by Mary Oliver. It is called The Uses of Sorrow. In my sleep, I dreamed this poem. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this, too, was a gift. So, what has come up for you through this time of beautiful music, poetry, song, and silence? What would you like to embrace? You should have a little piece of paper that you got when you came in, so find that. And if you don't have one, could you raise your hand so that somebody who's very friendly will come and give you one? Someone who's wearing antlers, possibly? And if you're at home, just grab a little piece of paper. I'm asking you, what feelings would you like to honor? What would you like to nurture? What would you like to embrace and bless? Write it down as a word or two on your paper as our lovely Gina plays, and keep the paper handy because we'll do something with it later. And Gina.
Out of the darkness comes the light. Out of the silence comes the song. All of the many really are one. Truth is honey on my tongue. Truth is honey on our tongues. Out of the darkness comes the light. Out of the silence comes the song. All of the many really are one. Truth is honey on my tongue. All of the many really are one. Truth is honey
We are in the dark night of the soul. We are in the darkest night of the year. And yet the saying is, it's always darkest before the dawn. We're in the space of the mystical mystery. We're in that place of winter time, the time where we go inward. And I really like the vision of a tree as it expresses the fullness of the cycles of life. I think about the springtime when the little buds come out of the tree, and the summertime when the flowers bloom and the fruits come forth. And then the fruits fall from the tree with seeds of possibilities inside of them. And the seeds and the fruits might be eaten, but some will remain. And then the tree has its sap, and it starts drawing it in to the fall. And as it releases all of the leaves start decomposing. And yet every leaf provides nutrients for the earth, for the soil, for everything surrounding it. That decomposing is what gives life. And so at that time, the roots of the tree in the wintertime grow deeper. It looks like nothing's going on. It looks like bareness, skeletons. It looks like death. And yet, every death is the beginning of something new. It's interesting because all wisdom traditions, all religions have some kind of embracing of this darkness, some type of hero's journey that a spiritual explorer goes on. Jesus went to the desert for 40 days, and he wrestled with his internal demons. Jacob wrestled with an angel of the night. And after he was done wrestling with that angel of the divine, the angel ordained him Israel, meaning he prevails with God. But the struggle had to happen first. Even Gautama, sitting underneath the Bodhi tree, he struggled with the demons of his own ignorance, and finally had a breakthrough and achieved enlightenment and became known as the Buddha. See, each one of these stories is a hero's journey story. And it's my story, and it's your story too. And I think about the hero's journey, that he or she or they go down deeper into the depths of hell. And they encounter their deepest, darkest difficult challenge. And something about that encounter transforms them. That thing creates the alchemy for inspiration, for creative expression, for awakening. It was going down that caused it. And when the hero encounters that and embraces it, allows it to be part of their journey, their exploration into who they are, awakening to the depth of their soul, they awaken to a new aspect of themselves. And as they come out of that darkness, they can never be the same. They are fully transformed in the alchemy of God. So this is where we acknowledge the gifts of the darkness. This is where we acknowledge it because it is the alchemy. It is the alchemy that creates it. We don't do the alchemy, though. We just embrace what is and let God do the alchemy. So I looked up the word alchemy, and it's thought to be driven from an Egyptian word, chem, or chem, meaning black, which is a reference to the alluvial soils bordering the Nile. The black alluvial soils, the darkness. And the Greek word chima, meaning to fuse or cast metals, established itself in Arabic as alchemia, or alchemy. And there was this whole study of alchemy where people tried to turn lead into gold. But it's more of a metaphysical meaning for us, where we're trying to create from the darkness the transformation of the gold, which is the richness of who we are. But the beauty, again, is that we are not doing it. We are embracing it. And it is the Holy of Holies, the Spirit within, that is doing the work. As we experience and embrace and go through the darkness, not around the darkness, but through the darkness, our roots are deepening. While we are decomposing, God is recomposing. I think about the times when I've been sick, and what do I want to do? I want to sleep, I want to rest. But do you know what's happening when I'm sick? When I'm resting? My body is healing itself. My body is healing itself. All I have to do is listen. All I have to do is pay attention and stop doing to allow the transformation to happen in my body. These are soul-making times. These are the times of the mystery. In my own dark times, I've tried to resist my feelings. I tried to not have my emotions. I forgot to forgive myself. And what I've learned is that I need to embrace my wholeness, which is, instead of resisting what I'm going through, to just allow it to go through me. Just allow it to come through me. Sometimes I forgot to use the tools at my disposal. I forgot to use prayer and meditation. I forgot to call for help because I was too enmeshed in the depths of despair. But it is often at that time when we surrender and let go and let God that the most amazing miracles happen. So instead of resisting them, I invite you to really embrace them. Because it's embracing this mystical time. It's in embracing the darkness, actually going through it. That very thing is what causes the sparks to emerge. That very thing. It's interesting because at this time of year, there's all kinds of stories of gods and goddesses that were born during this time because the dark goddess is gestating, which is a period of mystery and transformation. And then on solstice, the light is born again. The Egyptian mother goddess Isis gave birth to her son Horus on the solstice, the sun god. On the same day, the Greek goddess Leta gave birth to Apollo. And Demeter, the great Mother Earth goddess, bore Dionysus. Isn't it interesting? That same symbology came through on this very night. So perhaps we too can embrace the darkness, because in embracing it, the alchemy of transformation will occur. So what I want you to do is to get your piece of paper, embracing what you want to embrace, and if you want to write more things down, you can. And Gina's going to sing another song, and I'd like you to bring it up and put it into this vessel here. For those of you who are online, I invite you to burn your piece of paper after the service to allow the energy, the alchemy of the transformation to occur within. And what I really want you to think about is when it is burned, you don't have to know what's next. You just get to be in the mystery. So I invite you to come up here and put your paper in the bowl.
Karpuragauram Karunavataram Sansarasaram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hridayaravinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvareniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhuvasvaha तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
And tonight, in the mystery, the darkness, which is part of the wholeness of the infinite great creation. I know that if I were to take a spaceship and leave this planet, there would be so much more darkness. The vastness of space is all part of that infinite place where planets are born, where stars are created. And so this evening, I honor and recognize and know that God, Goddess, love, alchemy is here, moving like that still, small voice within each and every one of us that allows the internal, vast spaciousness of the dark to birth anew within us. And I may not know what it is today, but I am certain that because of this night, because of this evening, something has moved and shifted inside of me. Something has allowed me to truly see with new eyes, so that after this evening, I start ascending out of the darkness. I go from the in-between of the known and the unknown. I go between the gap, and I allow the creative potential to open up within me some new aspect of my own divinity, my own greatness, my own revelation to happen now. And I'm so grateful to welcome it, to say yes to it, even though I don't know what it is. But it's newness. Just like a newborn baby, I welcome it, I cherish it, and I know that today is that sacred day, the day of its birth. Because I was willing to gather in and hold all of my emotions and let them go through me for this day. And so in gratitude and appreciation, I say yes to the transformation. And so it is.
Yes. 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 You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. the shadows. You are so, all the ones that are still in the mystery. You are so
Love, you are so deeply
You are so deeply
loved.
loved.
You are so deeply
You are so worthy of
You are so
all the
deeply
love any child is worthy of.
You are so loved.
Be loved, let yourself be loved.
You are so deeply
We are so
loved.
deeply loved.
You are so deeply loved.
All those parts that you show and the ones you don't
You
show
are
now.
so
Deeply loved. You are so loved. We are so deep. We are so deeply loved.
You are so deep.
Everyone in the universe, every leaf and every
You
flower.
are so
Deeply loved. You are so loved. Past, present, future, always. You are so deeply loved.
You are so deeply
You are so deeply loved. You are so all the love any child is worthy of. You are.
so loved.
Sing it especially to the one who didn't feel lovable. You are so
deep.
You are so deeply loved.
You are so deep.
You are so worthy of
You are so
all the love any child is worthy of. You are so loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. We are so deeply loved. We are so loved.
Oh, you're so deeply loved. So, I have some announcements. We have a beautiful Christmas Eve service coming up on Thursday evening with the amazing Rafe Perlman weaving the beautiful song and prayer with Reverend Kathy Ann Lewis. So I hope you can come. It will be both online and also in person. And then there will be a Christmas Eve service that is just online. So don't come here Christmas Eve. Come on Christmas Eve. In Norway, it's called Lille julaften, which means Little Christmas Eve. So, and we also have on New Year's Eve, it's actually New Year's Day, but it's 4 a.m. on New Year's Day, so it may be still your New Year's Eve if you're partying crazily. At 4 a.m., we have the World Healing Meditation, which is part of a globally synchronized meditation with singing bowls that support the spirit of peace and healing in each of us and our families and our world. So if you like to come here in person, you can, or you can be in your pajamas at 4 a.m. and participate as well. The singing bowls sound better in person, and they're vibrational. New Year's Eve service on Friday, December 31st at 7 p.m. Come and celebrate the joy of your past miracles, cherish the present, and look forward to a bright 2022 with Kathy Ann. And we have our lovely, incredible musician that night. We just have amazing musicians every time. Stephanie Ann Johnson will be the musical guest that night. So now it's time for me to ask you if you have, actually, if I could get the usher to bring the basket up, that would be fantastic. And if you have ever been enhanced, enlightened, expanded, enriched, inspired, empowered by a Center for Spiritual Living Seattle program or service, I would really love to ask you to prayerfully consider supporting it financially. There are lots of easy ways to give. You can text GIVE to the number 844-315-7968. You can go to the website. Many of you have been there. There is a donate button on your screen if you're streaming at home. You can even use PayPal. I mean, we're your pals, so pay us. There's even a map on the CSL iPhone app, or not even just an iPhone, mobile device. You can call Michael Oliver at the office. He would love to talk to you. And you can mail a check, good old-fashioned check, to the Linden Avenue address. And so let's just bless this time, knowing that each gift is a blessing, no matter its size. It could be $1, it could be 10, it could be 100, it could be 1,000, it could be 100,000. We would not refuse. If you feel empowered and if you feel that this is your spiritual home, I invite you to take on the blessing that it always is given to a giver, where that giver is blessed with a feeling of prosperity, of abundance, of leading a thriving life. And of course, the gift blesses CSL Seattle and enlightens the rest of the world via our programs, and it lets us give our beautiful light all through the world for now and the next 100 years. Thank you to this community for being the champions of CSL, for being its heart and its life force. So come up if you would like to bless the offering basket. If you've given by phone, you're more than welcome to bless that basket and show your support. And now Gary Schultz, our wonderful Gary Schultz, will give us the benediction.
So staying in that heart space that we have all created here collectively, through the poetry, through the music, through the spoken word, most of all, being on this journey together in this spiritual community that we call Center for Spiritual Living Seattle. It was Teilhard de Chardin that reminded us that we are far more than just human beings having this spiritual experience. For in fact, we are spiritual beings having this human incarnation. So knowing that in this moment welcomes you just as you are, right where you are, right here and right now. Kathy Ann is calling in with this prayer as well. She sees you and you. So in this sweetness of this time together, reminding you that, as I said, that this moment welcomes you just as you are, right where you are, right here and right now, in the light, in the darkness, and sometimes the messiness that in our human experience, that we experience in between. For it is all a part of this divine journey we call life. So if you'd like to join me, I encourage you to do so. We'll have a prayer circle right here, right after the service. If you're watching online, visit our website and you'll see a prayer button for prayer requests, and you'll have a prayer practitioner or a minister taking your desire, your wants into prayer as well. So may we take this moment, this time together. It's no wonder, no secret why indigenous people of earth traditions and multi-faith traditions since millennia have understood the great magic and the potency of this time that we call winter solstice. A time of light, a time of darkness that places us right where we are, honoring us just as we are. May we take the blessings of this time together and be a blessing and light in the world. And for this and so much more, I give thanks. Blessed be, and so it is.
So it is.
And that light is the light of love, and we say yay. Call it good, call it very, very good. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved, yes. You are so deeply loved. You are so loved. You are so deeply when you're in the light.
You are so
When you're
deeply
feeling that
loved.
darkness.
You are so
Past,
deeply
present, and
loved.
future, and always.
You are so loved. You are so deeply
Purnamida,
loved.
Purnamida.
You are so deeply loved.
Purnamudachyate.
You are so
Purnasya
deeply loved.
Purnamadaya.
You are so
Purnamevavashishyate.
You are so deeply loved.
You
You are so deeply
are so worthy
loved.
of.
You are so deeply loved. You are so loved.
To all the animals, to the plants, to the planet.
You are so deeply
Help us love you more and more.
You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so loved.
And lastly, to all beings, including the difficult ones, you are so
deeply
Sometimes we're the difficult ones.
You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so loved.
And as you're walking in your life, maybe you'll just hear this song once in a while. You maybe screwed up, or you did that thing, or you forgot, like every human. And you'll just hear this little, you are so deeply loved. Yes, try again. You are so loved. Whoops, did you stumble? You are so deeply. You're an eternal soul. You are so, there's plenty of time loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so